Now we're going to take a look at the scatter plot chart tutorial for the template at SharePoint-dashboards.com. This is a charting template where you use X and Y coordinates to plot points on your chart. And this oftentimes will help to show a correlation between variables. If you want more information about scatter plot charts and want to see some examples, you can follow the link at the bottom of the notes section here. Once you've got some data ready, you can begin doing your chart configuration. For this chart, we need three values. We need a X value, the value going left to right, a Y value, which is the value going vertically from bottom to top, and then last we need a named color value, which indicates the color of the plot point. So this is what you should show in your SharePoint list. Note that you do not need to use the title column. You should set that field as not required in your list settings. As with the other templates, you can begin by browsing some different options in the themes just to get some ideas on different things you can do. Many of these are using gradient backgrounds. You don't have to use that, but oftentimes it makes your chart look nicer. And there is a drop-down selector at the bottom. You can turn that off and just use a solid background color if you want. If you are using a gradient background, be sure to make sure you have the images uploaded corresponding to this chart. Hopefully you've already done that for another template. If not, you should go ahead and do that. Note that you only have to do that one time for any of the templates. This shows an example scatter plot data set. So this is just giving you an idea what this is going to look like. You can make some adjustments to the column width, which controls the overall width of the chart if you want, as well as the height of the chart, just to get an idea of how that canvas is going to look. Naturally, you can set the chart title to whatever you want and adjust any of these other settings. There is a special field towards the top called key values. This is for you to indicate if you're using multiple sets of data. So you might be plotting points to compare two sets. And if that's the case, you should definitely include the key values. You can optionally get rid of that if you don't want to use it. That's just up to whatever you're doing. Okay, and then you do want to set a corresponding range for your X coordinates and for your Y coordinates, which is going to correspond to your chart. So you really need to take a look at your data to figure out what's going to make the most sense. For my data, I happen to know that for the X-axis, it falls in a range between 50 and 100. Note that the example shown in the template builder is not going to change according to those values. It uses its own presets for demonstration purposes, but your chart will be adjusted based on those values. And then additionally, you can control the point size, and also you can control the opacity, which makes those plot points semi-transparent. And if you have cluster data, this may help you to see if you've got overlapping points. Okay, and then in the bottom, I need to provide the SharePoint field names. My columns, I call them XVal, YVal, and of course, I have a color column, which I just named color. So you do need to enter those three fields, at which point you can copy the template. Now I can come over to SharePoint, and I can go ahead and format my view. In the view formatting, I need to select Advanced, and I'm going to paste in my template code. There we go. Now my key values are wrong here because I didn't update that, so that's something I should also do. So I'll take care of that now. So I'm going to go ahead and update this. So I have blue and red, so why don't I go ahead and update that. So I'll say blueberries. And then these are delimited in pairs, so you need to use a pipe character. That's the vertical line, and I'm going to say blueberries are going to be the color blue in the key, and then comma, and then I'll say cherries is my other label, and those are the color red. Okay, so now that I've updated that, I can copy my code and hit OK, and this will update the key showing at the top. Okay, so now my key is correct. Now obviously there's other things that should be adjusted. I can adjust the title showing above the chart, and I can adjust the labels for the y-axis and also for the x-axis according to whatever it is that I'm plotting. You can have as many different sets with different colors as you want. Just as a reminder, that is controlled with your data. So you have a color designated. If you look through my data, you'll notice that some of them are set with blue and some of them are set with red. So that's how you're going to control that. Note that this chart is closely related to another template at SharePoint-dashboards.com, which is the bubble chart. And that is something where you're going to do something similar. However, the plot points are plotted as circles that are going to be increasing in area according to another value. Note also that you can do circles or squares. If I check the plot squares checkbox, I could plot squares on my chart diagram. So there are lots of options, so you should definitely play around with the configuration until you get it to look just the way that you want. And this is an interesting chart option that you can do, which is a little bit different than the standard go-to charts like your bar graphs and line graphs and pie graphs, stuff like that. So this is definitely visually appealing from that perspective. Good luck.